Media is harder than you think. Whether your goals are to engage existing clients or customers, or if you're going to use social media to generate new business, understanding the history of social media will be a very important tactic for you to know so that you can plan your approach effectively in the future. I'm Chris Carr with Faratech, and this is Digital Marketing Masterclass Live. Before you go any further, I want to invite you to click on the subscribe button and click on that notification bell. I would love to make sure that you're in the know when we post new videos like this. So let's dive in. Today I'm going to be talking a lot about organic social media. What I mean by organic social media is the idea that you're going to go and you're going to actively gain more fans, followers, likes, and connections to expand your online visibility. And while I do believe that Facebook is a dying star, we can talk about that later. Their past trajectory tells probably the most obvious story on how marketing got from here to there in regards to social media. So first off, what I want to say is that what Facebook did was nothing short of miraculous. You see, the number one thing that Facebook did very well right from the start was the ability to gain early adoption. And they did this through a number of different factors. One of the number one things that they did was they used the marketing tactic of exclusivity. When you wanted to get a Facebook account early on, you had to have usually an Ivy League email address. I think they started at Harvard, so you had to have a harvard.edu email address.
Our business partner, Divya.
Welcome to the Facebook. The Facebook is an online directory that connects people through different social networks. You must have a harvard.edu address to register.
That's right.
And then what they did is they went on and hit every exclusive school so that people that were outside of that network sort of wanted to be on the in crowd. And so what it did was it kind of cashed in on that fear of missing out. And so what happened here is that eventually they started to capitalize on the Ivy League, and then they expanded to colleges, and it was just a matter of time before they expanded even beyond colleges. I mean, one of the funnier lines from the movie The Social Network is that one of the Winklevoss twins says, you know what, I couldn't even give away drugs as fast as Facebook is growing.
First day.
God, if I was a drug dealer, I couldn't give free drugs to 650 people in one day.
All right, and what I mean by that is that Facebook's growth was absolutely exponential. The only problem with that is that early on, they were not making any money. And you know what? Their investors actually didn't even care. What they wanted to see was mass adoption of the platform. The more and more market share that Facebook could consume to whip past Friendster, MySpace, and other platforms, that was the number one ingredient that they needed to do. The second thing after that is that they needed to make sure that people stayed on the site for as long as possible. And so what I really kind of call that is just developing an addiction for social media. And then finally, they got to monetization. Okay, so how did it all play out? Well, first off, almost all social media platforms do what Facebook did, but Facebook was one of the first ones to do it really, really well. And so here's what they did. First off, they gained a ton of active subscribers to their platform. However, once it reached critical mass, Facebook actually did something even more brilliant. What they did was they gave companies unlimited free access to the social network. And companies came in droves. They thought, wow, this is a gold mine. One website where I'm going to get all my potential clients to tell me everything about themselves, where they live, who they associate with, what they like, what they don't like. And it was a perfect place to market your products and services to a targeted audience. Just simply get people to like your page, and now they're exposed to all of your content, whether they like it or not. And then, practically overnight, Facebook turned off the water. Suddenly, all the free visibility that they were used to getting, it was gone. And when companies wanted to reach out to their audience, including their fans, likes, and connections, they went from seeing a lot of content to practically nothing. In fact, this Forbes article suggests Facebook made billions off of this. So when I say practically nothing, 40% of your content that used to be seen by your fans, followers, likes, and connections was down to an astonishing 2%. So how did Facebook make money? Well, they said, hey, Mr. Company, you can still access your audience, but now you're going to pay us for the privilege of marketing to them. And ever since then, Facebook has absolutely exploded to be one of the richest companies in the world. This phenomenon is what Evan Spence called the reach apocalypse. In his article in Forbes, his exact quote was, Facebook's stock price moved from nearly $50 to $70 a share, adding billions of dollars in marketing capitalization. And that was only in 2014, and their growth curve has been nearly straight up ever since. And surprise, surprise, nearly all other social media platforms followed the exact same playbook. So what is the point of this video? The point of this video is that it's very important that you know one critical thing. Nearly all companies today are staking their marketing futures on platforms that they do not own and whose rules they did not create. At any given time, these platforms can change the rules just like that. It's what Joe Pulizzi from CMI and The Tilt says, operating on borrowed land. So here's the deal. I don't think you can win in marketing without social media, SEO, and paid advertising. And these are the same sort of platforms that I'm talking negatively about. But what I am trying to do is tell you to proceed with caution, knowing that the companies that put all their eggs in one basket, sooner or later, they usually pay the price. And my final thought is this. While I've been talking very negatively about how Facebook kind of rose to power, other than Google and maybe programmatic advertising, social media paid advertising is possibly the best way to develop a laser focus on how to reach your ideal buyer persona. And few other platforms provide lookalike audience technology that allows you to reach an audience very similar to your ideal persona. So while I can be sour grapes about Facebook, it can't be ignored either. So what did we learn today? Well, the first thing is when you understand how social media companies make money, you can plan accordingly. Next, you learn what the reach apocalypse is and how it changed the landscape of marketing. And finally, we talked about the dangers of putting all your eggs in one basket from a marketing perspective. So my question for you is, how are you using social media to engage your current customers and expand your reach to new potential clients? We'd love to hear more from you, so please put that in the comments below. So that's today's show. I hope that you learned something. It's our goal to bring as much value as possible. We take these episodes very seriously and we answer every comment that we get in YouTube and other platforms. It is our goal to present content like this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 2 o'clock. We also want to encourage you to join our newly formed Facebook group, the CMO Marketing Roundtable. In that group, we're going to be able to discuss some of the tactics that we've explained in these videos. It's also a place where CMOs can come together to share ideas, get feedback on things like calls to action, and also be able to share podcast guest opportunities and other opportunities to collaborate with one another. And finally, I'd like to share with you something very special. Over the last 21 years, my team and I have developed something that we call the Faratech Unique Process. And if you'd like to see it, we put it all in one place at faratechuniqueprocess.com. I'd also like to mention that these videos are part of our podcast called Digital Marketing Masterclass. So if you're stumbling upon this video on YouTube, please make sure you check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and other locations. So finally, I hope you enjoyed today's